Hi folks, welcome to the garden. I'm Mr. Bob. I'm the volunteer gardener here at the school. We have quite a garden complex here and you're welcome to come over and check it out anytime. The campus is open. We have an orchard, we have the raised beds for the vegetables, we have a pollinator area, we have compost bins, we have more garden with grapes, we have a habitat area, we have vegetables, we have herbs, we have flowers, a lot of things to come and check out. So come when you can. This year, since the students won't be able to come out to the garden, we're going to try to bring the garden to you guys. Based on the monthly garden classes we had last year, we'll be changing the subject each month. This is our first time trying this, and this is our first video. And this one's going to be plant part.
All right, here we are, parts of a plant parts. So why study plant parts? Well, this is a garden video, and most of what you see in the garden are plants. And how do you find out about something? Well, we take it apart, we study the parts, and we know more about whatever that thing is we're talking about. Suppose you wanted a new bicycle. You wouldn't just look at it and decide whether you wanted it. You'd check out the seat and jump on it and ride it around and check the handlebars and the pedals and check the tires. By checking all those parts, you'd know more about your bicycle. Well, it's the same with parts of the plant. We're going to study these parts one at a time, and using what we call a scientific method, we're going to break it down into the parts. 6 main parts of the plant are the roots, stem, the leaves, flowers, fruit, and the seeds. Now, not all plants have these same parts, but most of them do. So we're going to study these 6 parts. And we'll start with the 3 of them today, the roots, the stem, and the leaves. Our next video, we'll talk about flowers, fruit, and seeds. So here we have food literacy. Food literacy does a little exercise using our body parts to remind us about the plant parts. So the order we do them in is very important. You can join in if you want to.
And we start with our roots, to our stem, to our leaves, to our flower, to the fruit. All the way down, yes, to our leaf. The root, with the stem, to the leaves, to the flower, to the fruit. All the way back down with our seeds, to our roots, to our stems, to our leaves, to our flowers, to our fruit, all the way back down with our seeds. Yay!
Thank you guys.
Now with plant parts, size does not matter. The plants can be small potted ones like these. Could be vegetables in our garden or the trees in our orchard. Do you remember what an orchard is? An orchard is a group of fruit trees. We have trees in the park, but that's not an orchard. They're not fruit trees. An orchard is a group of fruit trees. Or we could have the largest tree in the world, a coast redwood. So this tree on our school campus is going to get a lot bigger. All right, here we have roots. So what do roots do? Well, they do 3 main things. They hold the plant steady in the ground. They take in water and nutrients the plant needs to survive. And they store extra food produced by the plant in the roots. So, what if these trees didn't have any roots? They wouldn't be standing up like that. So the roots stabilize the trees and the plants in the ground. Here's a good picture. Since we can't see the roots in the ground, this picture is a nice diagram of what the tree roots look like. This tree lives for many years, so the roots spread out pretty wide. They take in water, they take in nutrients the plant needs to survive. They also crowd out the competition. If the trees are too close together, the trees don't grow as well because they have to compete for the water and the nutrients. All right, here's a picture of a chard plant. This is most of the roots. A lot of the small ones I couldn't get out of the ground, but these are the main roots of the chard plant. This plant only lives less than a year, but you can see how the major root system goes straight down and out just a little bit. Here's a picture of one of your favorite plants, the mint plant. This is a small plant. Look at all these roots. This plant lives year after year, but still, it's got a lot of roots for such a small plant. In fact, it's so aggressive, they call it a invasive plant because it invades an area and takes over. This is why a lot of people won't plant mint in their garden because they're afraid of it. They're afraid it'll just spread out and take over. All right, so the plants also store extra food in their roots. And one of the main reasons they do that is for the flowers. Flowers don't produce their own food. They have to get the food from the other part of the plant. So when a plant flowers, it puts out a lot of flowers, and that takes a lot of food. So that's the third thing that the root systems do. They store food in their roots. Here's something else that the root system has. These are all vegetables that grow in the ground, and they're part of the root system. And they're called root vegetables. Here's a partial list of some of the root vegetables we grow or other people grow in their gardens. We have sweet potato, carrot, potato, onion, beet, parsnip, radish, turnip, and sunchoke. And they're all part of the root system. And the nice thing, luckily for you guys, you have the computer system and your cell phones, and you can look up things like the sunchoke if you don't know what that is, and it'll explain it to you. But basically, it's a root vegetable. All right, the next plant is the stem system, or stems. Stems do two main things. They connect all the parts of the plant, and they act like a highway moving water, nutrients, and food around the plant. Here we have a milkweed on the left, and you can see the stem in the middle, straight up the plant, holding the leaves together. The tree on the right, we don't use the word stem for trees. We use the words trunk and branches, but that's the stem system. It's all the same thing. And what they do is they move food around, they move the water and the nutrients up and down the stem system, up and down the plant. So you have food produced in the leaves going one direction, and then you have food produced in the leaves going down into the roots. You have the nutrients and the water coming up the plant to the leaves, and like a little highway system there within the plant. That stuff is moving around within the stem system. Okay, just like the root system has vegetables in it, we eat some of the stems. The common stems that we eat would be things like the rhubarb, celery, asparagus, the charred stem, leek, or the green onion. All right, next plant part we're talking about are the leaves. The leaves are the powerhouse of the plant. This is actually where the food is produced. So leaves basically do two things. They're the food factory of the plant, because no other part of the plant produces food, just the leaves. The leaves catch energy from the sunlight, and they turn air and water into food. So let's check this out. So we have a word for what the leaf does. It's called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. It's a long word with a very important message. See, the leaf takes in energy from the sunlight to make plant food and stores this energy in the food. Humans and animals cannot do this, only plants can. So we get our energy from eating plants or from eating animals that ate plants. So what do we need energy for? Well, if you want to move around, we need energy. Plants too need energy to make the food, to move it around, and to grow. Well, besides this, leaves are also very rich in vitamins. Green leafy vegetables are very nutritious. So here's a partial list of leafy vegetables that we eat. Kale, the broccoli leaf, collard greens, mustard, lettuce, charred leaf, spinach, and beet green. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about that photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is really about life on Earth. And that's a pretty big statement. We need oxygen to breathe, right? Where do we get that oxygen from? From plants, from the photosynthesis process. We breathe out carbon dioxide. The plants take in the carbon dioxide and give us oxygen to breathe. Where do we get our energy from? We get it from the food we eat. Remember, only plants can take in the energy from the sun and keep it inside. Humans and animals have to get our energy from those plants. So the leaf takes in carbon dioxide from the air, gets water from its roots and stem, takes in energy from the sun, puts that all together to make a food. As it does this, it also releases oxygen into the air. So plants provide us with energy, food, and oxygen. Without photosynthesis, people would not be able to survive on planet Earth. So we can see that nature provides us with a wide variety of plants and plant parts. That's a lot to think about, but we're only half done. In our next video, we'll talk about flowers, fruit, and seeds. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And until then, stay safe and goodbye.